Hi guys, Mark from Mind Frontiers. I'm going to talk to you about another little project that I've got going on as well. So not only have I got my geeky Mind Frontiers so that, to explore the mind where no one's ever gone before. Just a little play on words and that I like to use. I have another big passion, and that is working with people with autism and learning disabilities. These individuals are often feel judged. They often feel like they're not part of society, and we've got to break this down. We've got to look at why this is happening. And the biggest reason that people judge others, no matter what it is a lack of understanding and awareness, and sometimes fear. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to behave. You act a bit weird. You act a bit eccentric. You're a bit strange. And often as we're growing up, our programs reflecting our beliefs and our values, so that we form judgments on other people. And when we work with people that have learning disabilities, these individuals often go around and they are depressed, they're quite stressed and anxious, because all they want to do is fit in. But because we do not understand them, we make judgments about them. And that causes them to try and act out more, which becomes a vicious cycle. So what can we do about it? Well, let me tell you, I'm no fantastic expert on autism. I do know about autism, and I know lots of different things with autism. But let me tell you some bits about autism and learning disabilities, so that we can bring in awareness and an understanding. Because when we bring in awareness and understanding to different situations, we can bring compassion and love, and we can actually do things in a different way. So autism is a process, and it's classed as a social and communication problem. So these individuals have difficulties expressing their emotions. Sometimes they express their emotions negatively, sometimes it's positively, and sometimes it's over the top. They are getting all their information into their brain. So what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we smell, and what we feel. However, autism is what they call monoprocessing. So its only ability really is that they can only deal with one sense at a time. So if all the information is coming in at once, they can feel overwhelmed. And you as a person might just begin, oh well, that's a bit weird, that's a bit strange. But bearing in mind, all our information is like a computer, and it's going in all the time. So some might start chewing their top because they're stressed, they're anxious. Some might be twirling their hair because they're anxious and stressed. So if they've got information coming in all the time, and then you start talking to them, they'll find it hard to process that information. So the way to do that is give time. So if you're wanting to communicate with somebody, you communicate with them. And this goes with anybody really. If you want to communicate with them, you've got to be prepared for the answer. Now sometimes you have to wait for the answer. And when you wait for the answer, just give them time so that they can process the information. Because their mind is going to begin, you need to find out which way, so that they can process the information. Our thoughts actually have patterns. So, and I'm not going into that in this video, but we look in certain directions for different information. And these individuals will have to explore their information, their processes, to be able to communicate with you. Because they're monoprocessing. They're only processing one sense at a time. So they've got to process one sense, then process another sense. That's why when they go out into towns, for example, some might wear headphones, too much noise. or so that they can't, all they're doing is concentrating on the music, but then their ability with their spatial awareness is comprehended because they can't do that at the same time. So these individuals, and sometimes they have difficulties in school, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're really good. These individuals and other individuals tend to just do one thing at a time. They tend to like routine and structure, though there are variances on autism and some don't like routine and structure, but the majority like routine and structure. They like things to be set out in a way that they can understand, so they know what's expected, know what they're going to do. And when I work with parents and we look at some of their actions and the behaviours and the emotions that these individuals have, it's working out what the triggers are. So what's caused this issue? So it could be something that was 5 months ago, or it could be that they've been overwhelmed and oversensitized to a certain piece of information or a certain situation, and they're not sure on how to deal with it, so they tend to act out. So a safe environment for them is a good place. So often when I work with parents, they say, well, this person is fine at school, but when they come home it's like chaos. And that's because they've conformed to the rules and regulations in school, and there's a build-up of pressures in school and build-up of different situations, which all goes into their brain because of how they process the information. How, if they've got challenges with schoolwork, it all goes in. So then they go home and they go, and they have a meltdown because it's a safe environment that they can do so. And us as a society, we need to be more adaptable. We need to be going, okay, let's look at the facts behind the place. Now, cinemas often do an autism screening, so they turn the lighting at a different setting and they have the volume at a different setting. Supermarkets, although the pandemic's on at the minute, but before the pandemic, supermarkets were having autism friendly shopping. So you could take your child and you could have things that would distract your child while you do your shopping, so that they can focus on something rather than focusing on all the information that's bombarding them. We need as a society to stop being judgmental. We need to bring an awareness of not just of autism, but of other people with disabilities or other ideas. And this is the main fact that we need to do, because everybody in this world is different. Not one individual is the same. Nobody thinks the same. Nobody acts the same. They might be similar, but you could have two people doing the same experience and have a different perception of that experience. So one person will say, well, that was really good, and the other one, I really didn't like it. What didn't you like? And then we're in conflict. Then we're starting to judge people based on their different opinion, their different values, their model of the world, so how they believe and what values they have, rather than looking at, okay, so people with autism find that difficult. They can't look at other people from their point of view. It's very difficult for them. It takes them out of their comfort zone. And it's not an easy experience. Now, a lot of adults without autism or learning disabilities find that difficult too, putting themselves in from other perspectives, which is why I do a lot of work on that. We need to start looking at our own selves and what perspective we have and what meanings we're giving and what messages we're receiving. Are we doing it with an understanding? And if we don't know something and we're fearful, we don't know how to behave, we don't know how to act, then we look at people and we go, okay, where can I find out more information? And then suddenly we're not acting out of our emotions, so we're not reacting, we're responding, and we're educating and training ourselves, which is better for professional development, it's better for personal development, because the more understanding and compassion we have, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us, whether these individuals are on the spectrum, I've got learning disabilities, or they haven't. We need to be more understanding. Everybody has a different belief. And we need to, as a society, go, okay, I respect your opinion. This, because that's what it is. Your opinion and your belief is your opinion and your belief, not anybody else's. So if we can go, okay, let's look at the facts. What can we do differently? And then we start understanding better. And we as a society have got to do more than this. Now, as I said the other day, there are many, many children out there that are that are self-harming more than the numbers showed before. Now, in one way, at least it's not concealed and it's not hidden. So the numbers are growing. But when I started building workshops for individuals with learning disabilities, the facts were astonishing. That lots of children with learning disabilities are left to their own devices. They're not given the help to learn to interact with others, to learn to deal with their own emotions. And they're like, well, there you go, you just got to get on with it. So they're left in limbo. So when it comes to going outside or into a supermarket, the only training that they get is tend to be from either charities or parents. And that leaves them in a difficult situation because they don't know how to react or how to respond, and often will have a meltdown. And then they get judged, which then causes more meltdowns. Now, I've seen some beautiful videos lately. A lady was taking a child in the supermarket and was very, very, very stressed. And the child was very, very anxious and crying and screaming and shouting and having a massive mental, emotional overload. When a member of staff came along, talked to the lady, picked this young child up in her arms. The young child was like, oh, okay. And she started interacting with the child. The child calmed. The mum then was able to go, thankfully, and was able to do her shopping. That showed compassion and love, and a brilliant employee, an understanding employee of people that might have difficulties. And the lady's shop was a lot better. I've been in situations with my own family who are on the spectrum, and I've been there when people have judged. You should learn how to treat your child better. I would just discipline your child. I've had all that, had all those responses, and I was like, well, how would you discipline? I was spanked and never did me any harm. But these individuals often don't understand consequences, so they'll act out or they'll have an emotional overload. What's the point in actually then disciplining the child for the emotional overload, when it's better to actually look back and go, okay, what's caused the emotional overload, and then what can I do about it the next time so it doesn't occur again, and so that you can also allow that child to calm down, and then you can discuss it rationally. Now, some individuals may not be able to do that. As I said, autism is a social and communicational difficulty, so some are what we classed as non-verbal. But we've still got to look back on what their behaviours are teaching us. What are they trying to communicate by being upset? Have they seen something like really, really shiny that's attracted their attention, but they're not able to express themselves? And then you've gone past it, and then they've got upset. And then we get judged from other people in society. So let's stop the judgment, guys. And this is a quick video on just about some aspects of autism and learning disabilities, because it doesn't just have to be autism. There are lots of children out there with learning disabilities that have difficulties with communicating, and they are judged. So let's stop the judgment. Let's take a step back, be aware be compassionate, be loving. And if you see somebody in difficulty, they may need space, but they may need a little bit of support. Be that person. Do the act of random kindness, the arc. Let's spread the love. Let's get rid of the negativity, the judgments, and the actions out of fear and not knowing what to do, or just being hateful. Let's just remove that, so that we know what we're doing, and we can be more loving and compassionate to other people. Because the world will be a lot better place if we can do that. And not just with people with autism or people with learning disabilities. We need to take a step back and stop judging people, and take some responsibility and accountability for our own thoughts, our own emotions, and our own actions, and the consequences of any actions or inactions that we take, so that the society and humans can all grow as well. So thank you very much, guys. Drop us a like, drop us a comment, like and subscribe, and thank you very much, guys. You're awesome.